Starting out small, but getting bigger. What's up? How y'all doing? Greetings, salutations. Quoting Werner von Braun. Sure. What's up, Victory Jen on X? What's up, people? How you doing? Thanks for being here. You have a lot of choices for content these days. Too many choices. There can never be too many. And you all choose to be here, and I really appreciate that. Thanks for being here. Let's get the Death Star mic warmed up. Fire up the generators. The Death Star mic is going fully operational. What's up, people? Bella, Extra Bulla, Malcolm. All right. Let's get into it. Start off with a couple of videos that are amusing, entertaining, and hopefully you'll get something out of. This one is funny because I think a lot of people feel this way.
You know what I want to know? Here's what I want to know. Nothing else. I don't want to know anything else. I don't want to have another thought in my motherfucking brain where I have to second guess it. I have to question it. I have to research it. I have to figure it out. Do you know how envious I am of people who literally just don't fucking know shit? Some of the happiest people that I have ever met are the dumbest people that I know. And they're dumb because they just don't fucking care. And they just don't accept that there are things outside of their existence that are true. I'm so tired of it. I'm so tired. Like, I'm exhausted. I am exhausted. Hi. I'm fucking exhausted. I hate the fact that when somebody in my family gets sick, I can't just say, oh, let's just go to the doctor. I hate the fact that when my neighbor gets a fucking brand new lawnmower, my husband's not like, hey, hey, Bob, what model is that? Hey, where'd you get that? I need to get one of those. I hate the fact that I can't send my kids to public school or college because I know too many fucking things. I hate the fact that when I pay taxes to the fucking IRS, it's always in the back of my mind, oh, well, this wasn't ratified and it's not actually a law. It's in the Constitution, Article 1, Section 9, Section 4. Fucking, I hate the fact that I know my taxes are only going to the interest that our government owns to a fucking private bank. I hate the fact that I can't just go to my job and draw blood and look at my patient and look at the diagnosis code and look at my patient and know in the back of my fucking mind this is some grade A bullshit and they really don't need pharmaceuticals and they really just need a holistic doctor or somebody who can actually pinpoint the problem, or maybe they just need a parasitic cleanse. I hate the fact that I can't go grocery shopping without analyzing every fucking thing that comes off of the store shelf because it might be poison for my goddamn family. I hate the fact that when I have a conversation, a private conversation with somebody, and then I get a fucking advertisement on my phone 10 minutes later, and it's like, oh, were you talking about this? Hey, maybe you need this and this and this and this. Bitch, I hate that I look at elections like it's the fucking Super Bowl. Like, we have to win. Like, if we don't win, these people are gonna fucking do some crazy shit. I hate the fact that I question the goddamn weather now. I hate it. I hate that I get a gag reflex when I see a clip from mainstream media because I don't watch mainstream media, but I watch YouTube and TikTok and I see things on X and I see things from the mainstream media that gives me an automatic gag reflex. Anyways, apparently aliens are coming in November. Do with that information what you will. Let me know when I don't have to pay rent or show up to work anymore because that's all I fucking care about. Oh, I hope it's the rapture. I freaking hope it's the rapture because you know what? I've had enough. Like, if this is my free trial, God, then I'd rather be up there with you. So, yeah. Anyways. I don't want to know anything. I don't want to know fucking shit. Don't fucking tell me anything else. Don't fucking post anything else. I don't want to hear any more research. I don't want to hear any more fucking nothing. Shh, stop. I don't want to know anything else. I want to be stupid. Please. I just want to be dumb.
Okay. Pretty good rant there. I'm going to preface this video with, this is a doctor crying about patients coming in with questions and being informed about what's going on with them. And this guy is complaining. This is the biggest, tiniest violin rant coupled with, I don't know what you want to call this. Cry harder to the tiny violin.
I don't know about other doctors out there, but for the first time these past few weeks, I am truly feeling that our days are numbered because of AI. And
only because of AI, not because people couldn't look up things
coming
before.
in with very, very difficult questions. They're high level, very granular and nuanced type of questions that I've never been asked before in previous years. And they are coming in with way more knowledge about what's going on with them.
Oh my God.
And they are, I feel like, using that to at least kind of probe the doctor, at least me, about like how much they know. And I think they use like these questions to kind of gauge their competence, because they're using these AI chatbots to get a lot of base information that they would get from their doctor.
We've got to shut it down right now. AI, we've got to shut it
with
down. People are getting informed.
Questions. And I just don't think doctors are going to be used to that, especially if you kind of been coasting for a while, barely keeping up with your CME, or maybe you're not an academic.
You know how doctors like to be coasting and stuff.
Staying current. And really. And I'm not saying that just because you don't know some random fact that you're not a good doctor, but I think real or perceived patients are going to use this as a measuring stick to see how good their doctor is. Like, for instance, I was asked just the other week what the incidence rate is for retinal detachment in the United States. And I've never been asked that type of questions. I don't think patients typically ask about epidemiology. And I was like, 1 in 10,000, I think. And he was like, yes, that is what I read as well. And I just felt like I was in the hot seat and I was being interrogated. Or
this guy is such a freaking
and I think
dork.
That's fine. I'm all for like patient autonomy and being able to vet their doctor, but
too far is
I
too
think
far.
This is going to have an unfortunate unintended consequence of eroding trust between physician and patient, because it's already strained to begin with. And just now with AI, I think patients are going to realize that they can get a lot of stuff that they need from their AI chatbot. And with that, the level of expectations from a real in-person human doctor is just going to go even higher, because what can you offer me that I can't already get from my phone in 2 seconds for free?
Well, that's a really great question. Well, why would people trust doctors? People are figuring out that doctors are pushing non-essential treatments or medicines on them. People are finding out that doctors are pushing actually harmful treatments and medicine on them. So what is a patient supposed to do but get educated, lest they be harmed by their physician? I've been misdiagnosed or treated very badly a few times by a doctor, and with no consequence to them. Both times, both situations could have been life-threatening. They ended up not being life-threatening, but the situations could have been life-threatening, and they were just like, whatever, dude. you're imagining this, or this isn't, a thing, or I don't know, we'll just, go away and come back later and we'll see what happens. So, yeah, doctors, schmockers. I'm really trying to rein in my cursing. I feel like I'm doing a pretty good job, but man, I just felt like cursing up a blue streak right there. Ooh. But I'm gonna just tamp it down. Because some people deserve to be cursed out. They do. I curse a lot. And personally, I love people who curse a lot. I love people who just let it rip. I am a fan of letting the cursing fly, but I try to control it because I'm, on the air and stuff like that. I'm on the air, I'm broadcasting. Some places don't like. Some people are really offended by cursing. I find too in life that people that are offended by cursing generally are people who will, generally, this is a general, very broad statement. Okay. So this is not everybody. But a lot of people who aren't, who look down on cursing are totally willing to screw you over, mistreat you. In very heinous ways, but some point to you cursing as somehow being a failure of character, or somehow an indication that you're like, unhinged or there's something wrong with you. No, you're just responding to the fact that somebody is a malignant jerk, and they deserve all the curses. And so let it rip. And no, it doesn't mean, actually, there was a study many years ago. I don't know why I'm going down this rabbit hole. There was a study many years ago that said that people who cursed a lot were actually more honest people in general. What other glowing things did they say about people that curse? That's the only thing I remember, honestly. But I don't have a problem with people that curse, honestly. I just don't. I don't. I appreciate it. I appreciate the realness, whatever. And then when I'm by myself or when I'm, not on air, I generally kind of let it rip. But I have a nope. Yeah, I just find it funny that people like to point to somebody cursing, or as somehow a failure of character. I'm just like, well, you can be really harmful and crappy without cursing, and generally those are the people that can be really crappy and then point to your cursing as the problem. It's like, no, that's not the problem. The problem is you. So yeah. Problem is you and your behavior, not me cursing. If there's something else that I'm doing besides cursing, you can talk about that. But if I'm not doing anything else besides cursing, we don't have a problem. At least I don't. I don't have a freaking problem. But cursing is not a crime. It is not a, I know that some people think that it's, well, you can't, people that curse can't express themselves properly or correctly. No, I can express myself in all kinds of ways. I just like to curse because it feels better. Feels better sometimes. Feels more real. Okay. Volcaholic. Let's not pretend the Valencia floods were a one-off. That was climate change in real time. it'll happen again. We act shocked every time, but the next disaster won't wait for us to be ready. Don't forget what happened. It's a warning, not history. And Alcoholic is correct. What are we seeing in the last few years? Definitely a steady uptick in extreme weather events. Definitely a steady uptick in heat events. Definitely a steady uptick in fires and droughts and all kinds of stuff. There's been more rain events lately than droughts that I'm noticing. Which is just how it's going, where we're at in the cycle. I don't know. But a few years ago, there were definitely there are some places definitely in drought. Canada, and a lot of people are talking about this. And a lot of people are very upset. Nova Scotia has gone to the act of closing off areas of forest from hikers in order to, because they're in a drought, they don't have any foreseeable rain, they've had a lot of wildfires, and so they don't want people exacerbating the problem. And a lot of people are like, hey, but my freedoms and stuff. I don't know. I'm conflicted about this. I have a few thoughts on this. Let's listen to this.
A leisurely walk in the woods is no longer allowed in Nova Scotia, and it may not be for the rest of the summer.
Effective 4 p.m. today, we're telling Nova Scotians, stay out of the woods.
Nova Scotia's premier announced today a ban on activities in the forest because of extreme dry conditions and the risk of wildfires.
Hiking, camping, fishing, and the use of vehicles in the woods are not permitted. Trail systems through woods are off limits.
At these walking trails in the heart of Sydney, some agreed with the move while others didn't.
As long as you're not starting a fire or smoking, that kind of thing, you should be able to walk there.
It kind of sucks for the campers and anybody out tenting, but it's probably necessary.
At these wooded trails in Coxeath, the entrance is blocked off. The people who run the trails say while they understand the province's move, it's also unfortunate.
So there's some expansions and upgrades that we had hoped to finish this summer that, depending on how long this goes, it will be slowed down.
According to the province, the penalty for violators will be the same as it is for the burn ban put in last week, $25,000, though camping is allowed at registered campsites and some exceptions will be made for work in the woods.
So they can get a permit to carry out their operations on Crown lands. They may need to operate at night, which can take place.
The Premier says with nothing but more dry weather expected in the coming days, the move is being made now to try and avoid a major wildfire like the one outside of Halifax 2 years ago.
We've had briefings from Environment Canada about the near-term forecast, and there is no significant rain in sight.
As for how long this ban on being in the woods...
Well, we won't know how long, and they don't know either, so whatever. I've seen a lot of people talking about this. Oh my God, fascist Canada, the overreach. Though I agree that, Canada and almost every other Western country is moving towards restricting people's, movements and general era of fascism. I can't disagree with that. I don't know if this is, oh my God, they've gone over the top. There's a trail near my house, or my old house. Whenever it got like really hot and really dry, they would shut the trail down. Why? Because there is a gang of people up there. A lot of people. And some of those people are clowns. Not everybody is a clown, but some of the people are clowns. Why aren't they making it rain there? Golly gee willikers, Nalene, I don't know. I don't know. They can't, you know, wind up the heart machine and make it rain. What's the matter with them? It's Canada. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It kind of actually makes sense. It's not that crazy. Is it inconvenient? Inconvenient? Sure. Is, you know, could it be annoying to people that were like, oh, I just wanted to go for a hike, you know, or I was going to go camping this weekend? Is it inconvenient? Sure. It's not crazy. So, you know, all the people that are like, oh my God, look what they're doing. This is some Agenda 2030. Close off the. Shut up. Jesus. Like, no, it's not that crazy. Just relax already with that. And, you know, I'm all for less yahoos in the freaking woods, period. Anyways, because there's a lot of yahoos in the woods that do dumb stuff. Remember a few years ago when there was a bunch of, yeah, they do it all the time. They do it all the time here. Like if it's hot and dry, it's not like that crazy. It's not that crazy. And it's actually kind of makes sense. Like if things are very dry and conditions are very dry, it's kind of logical. Why? Because there's a lot of clowns in the freaking woods. There's clowns that are going to go again on the trails near my house. Every once in a while, some homeless people. In fact, there was a huge fire. The last big fire that we had. Pyrotechnic gender reveals. The last big fire that we had, in the area before this last one was started by a homeless person who wandered up into the canyons and lit a fire. And the fire, there was some wind and the embers got all over the place and started a pretty freaking major fire. And homeless people wander up into the you know, near the trail and are not altogether there. They're not on their meds, or whatever. They're freaking out. Something's happening. Who knows? Several times homeless people have started fires up there, and it is like because it is so dry, the response is like the whole fire department, the whole police department, like run up there and try and stomp this thing out before it turns into something crazy. But so, you know, whatever. Interesting news from Nova Scotia. It's not crazy, people. It's really not that crazy. It's not overreach on a level that needs to be like, whoa, look what they're doing in Canada. There are other things they're doing in Canada that I would be definitely worried about, but not this. So I'm here to tell y'all, relax. Okay? Relax on that one, because they'll reopen it again. You know, it's August. It's a good time for some wildfires. Maybe they don't want people. Oh, what I was going to say, I remember a few years ago when they had some major fires in Canada. It turned out that some guy that wanted to blame he was like an anti-environmentalist or anti-climate change person who was trying to convince people that the fires were started on purpose. He was the one starting the fires. This was a big story. Like, I think it was 3 years ago. So this guy started fires and tried to turn like, they're doing it to you guys. So maybe they just don't want any like nutty people like that going up there and starting fires and then trying to turn around and say like, look what they're doing. They're starting fires. I don't know if I heard a lot of the alternative folks cover that story about how the guy started the fires and tried to blame it on the man starting the fires. Okay. Maybe want to cover that one? No? You don't want to cover that one? Okay. China is still at it. You hike the REI parking lot. Fun times right there. China is still getting whacked. Zhengzhou, China suspended work classes, public transport, and outdoor activities after torrential rain triggered severe flooding. The city issued a level 3 flood emergency response as streets, metro stations, and highways were heavily inundated, forcing partial metro shutdowns and the full closure of the Ring Expressway. Just never ending. Never ending mayhem there. And also Japan. Japan is getting it too. Don't know if I showed this one. Also, heavy flooding. Ishikawa Prefecture. I don't know. Why, looks like they can make it happen in Japan. Why don't they make it happen in Canada? I don't know what's going on. This one's faulty. Go in there. Guthrie, go in there and kick that thing a couple times. I don't know who names their kid Guthrie, but maybe. Also in China, have you guys heard about this new, I guess it's a virus going around but it's from mosquitoes. So I don't know if they're trying to launch another global scare or not. Every time something comes out around China, people start going, oh, they're doing it again. I guess it's a virus with a really fun name. Let's listen to this.
Breaking tonight, a viral outbreak in China prompts the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, the CDC, to issue a travel warning. More than 7,000 cases of this disease have been reported so far. State Department correspondent Jillian Turner has details tonight, live from the State Department. Good evening, Jillian.
Good evening, Brett. The CDC, as you mentioned, is warning Americans traveling to China about chikungunya. It is a virus that spreads to humans through infected mosquito bites. It can cause severe illness with symptoms that mimic pretty closely dengue fever and Zika virus, mostly found in Africa. Here's what the CDC says about it. They say most people infected get better within a week. However, some can have severe joint pain for months to years. Other symptoms include severe fever and fatigue. The outbreak now is in the Chinese province Guangdong. It's near Hong Kong, with more than 7,000 cases reported so far, prompting some pretty dramatic measures to contain the spread, like mandatory insect repellent blasts for people entering the area, mandatory property checks for stagnant water, which attracts mosquitoes, and when found is now punishable by fines or even arrest.
If you happen to get this, they're quarantining you in hospitals with mosquito netting and not letting you out for a week. These are the kind of draconian responses we saw with COVID. We're seeing it again.
The CDC says Americans traveling to 8 other countries are also at elevated risk of exposure to the virus, even if there is no current outbreak there. People at risk for more severe cases of chikungunya include newborns, seniors 65 years and up, as well as people with diabetes or heart disease. Now, the good news is that unlike COVID, deaths from this disease are exceedingly rare. You can also protect yourself by getting vaccinated against it or by preventing mosquito bites in the first place through all the usual mechanisms.
We have to kill all the mosquitoes. That's what we have to do. Are mosquitoes the most dangerous insect on the planet? Maybe we should kill them all. Look what they're doing to the population. You can get vaccinated, though. against chikungunya virus. Who knew? That's fun. Yeah, I don't know. Well, this is happening at the same time that they're having like all these record rainfalls and floods. Do you think the mosquitoes might be out? Probably. There's probably heck of mosquitoes out. Right? I've been showing like massive flooding in China for, weeks now, going on months. I'm sure massive flooding all over China is probably leading to a lot of mosquitoes being born. But who knows? We'll keep following this story. or not. I don't know. But I've heard tell of it for a couple days, so. So this is the Patriot Voice saying BARDA, which I guess is some kind of DARPA offshoot. So supposedly RFK Jr., not JFK Jr. he dead. He not here no more. RFK Jr. Supposedly they're banning mRNA, some mRNA vaccines, but BARDA is currently working on 400 different mRNA based vaccines. Only 22 are ceasing production. DARPA and Big Pharma, along with BARDA, have been working on saRNA or SARNA, which is self-amplifying mRNA, which is considerably far more powerful and potent. It is being fast-tracked for development. I feel like they already have these things and that they've already been testing these things on animals. Am I wrong? I don't think I'm wrong. Not just China, Deline, with what? With the chikungunya? Or what? The difference between COVID mRNA vaccine and COVID saRNA vaccine is that the former, cell's machinery produces that spike protein for as long as these instructions persist, while the saRNA goes a step further. It integrates the genes needed for the replication and synthesis of the spike protein, encoding RNA, effectively establishing a biological printing press for fabricating the vaccine inside cells, self-amplifying. There's the amplifying part. Amplify. What do we do? What do we want? Vaccines. How do we want it to happen? My chanting isn't going well today. We want it to self-amplify. Essentially, if you get saRNA vaccinated, you could be more contagious to those who aren't already mRNA vaccinated. So, sure, in this sense, this propensity for saRNA to be the next gen bioweapon is not hyperbolic. What about shedding? I heard a lot of people talking about shedding with the mRNA and the COVID vaccines, and the fact that it was shedding the spike protein, not only to other parts of the body, but possibly to other people. And I am open-minded to that idea. There was a lot of indication that that was actually happening, meaning possibly if you weren't even vaccinated, but you were around a vaccinated person, that possibly that spike protein could be shed to you Possibly. Some to think about from the people at Getty. Where are you going to buy? The COVID vaccinations cause a separation of human soul. What? And spirit from the... Now we're getting crazy. Patriot voice. Spirit from the physical body. Wait. Okay, I want to go back. Hold on. saRNA is now being used in animal vaccines for cats and dogs at the moment in the U.S. So they're already in use. I was correct. And we'll start human trials. Soon start human trials. Japan was the first to mass adopt saRNA at the end of 2023. There's been a lot of backlash from the public since. Okay, let's go on to the wacky part. COVID vaccinations cause a separation of the human soul and spirit from the physical body. I don't know about that. Patriot voice, far-reaching consequences for life after death. Okay. Now, okay, the woo is a little too woo right now. It is from the transhumanist movement that the COVID vaccinations have originated. Okay. You wrote me back in. You got me back on track. The COVID vaccinations serve to anchor the transhumanist agenda within our bodies. Quote from Thomas Mayer. Okay. I don't know about the soul stuff and the afterlife. I don't know about that part. But transhumanisms and the possibility that maybe there's graphene, which there was a lot of indications or conversations about graphene being present in these vaccinations, and that, again, all of these things congealing together, the tracking and the vaccinating and the all of that stuff being part, leading down the road of transhumanism, which I am. Again, I'm open to that idea. mRNA is the essential foundation of the beast system, and you will need it in your body to be part of society once the mark of the beast comes on the scene. Who knows? Admittedly, mRNA acts as an operating system and software for your body, which can be programmed remotely with updates. That is not actually far-fetched. They have talked about mRNA platforms as platforms that can be programmed, reprogrammed, things can be just moved around, shifted around, and boom, presto, you have a new vaccine. That's not just not far-fetched. That has actually been stated by the people who have created the mRNA vaccines. This is why there's such an aggressive push for transhumanism. Your body will be integrated into the system, or you will be shut off from being able to buy, sell, or live freely. The proliferation of mRNA worldwide is going to forever destroy humanity as we know it, and is irreversible. Also can be passed down generationally. Yikes. This is not about health or well-being. It is a battle for your very soul. Stay away. The HHS winds down mRNA vaccine development under BARDA is what they're referring to. This memo here. Winding down mRNA, shooting for saRNA. Okay. Creative Experiment says the virus is a program, though. You're filled with viruses right now, reprogramming you. I sure hope so. I need a little reprogramming because I'm cursing too much. Somebody programming the curse out of me. Look how late it is already. My God. I need so much more coffee today, and it's a little too late for all that. And we have so much more to cover. But if you like the show, if you appreciate the show, if you want to support the show, it would be really great if you would like to do such a thing. And you wanted to support the show. Guess what? You can support the show in the description boxes of whatever platform you're watching on, or Linktree on X. There are a whole bunch of ways you can support the show. Some of those ways include Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Zelle, Buy Me a Coffee, Ko-Fi, Patreon, Substack. Have I left any out? I don't think so. Some of y'all support the show on the regular basis, and I do appreciate it. Speaking of transhumanism, remember I was telling you about the guy, Ryan Sikorsky? He posted this today, and I just saw it in passing, and I don't know. I didn't really have time to go into it, but apparently there's something called the Transhuman coin. They literally named a coin Transhuman coin, and they did. They did. Look at this. Live longer, earn Transhuman coin. What? Oh my God. Yo, this is crazy. We're learning about this together. We are learning about this together. Look at this. Connect a wearable. This is almost like it could be. I mean, it seems almost like a joke if it weren't real, but I know THC. Bro, are you up on game with Transhuman coin? Are you cooking with Transhuman coin? Connect a wearable, improve your Transhuman Vitality Index, unlock AI biotools, and join our DAO funding longevity science. So apparently this Transhuman coin is supposed to help you live longer through connecting with the Matrix. This is nuts, y'all. Premium THC utilities. Vision Triage, Lab Lens, DNA Insight, Telegram Bot, Whale Watch, Price Guard. So you can connect your wallet and get you some Transhuman coin. Well, it's kind of like this is kind of nuts. They actually launched what was it called? Well, there's a coin called World Coin, but it was called something else. What was it called? One World Coin or something like that. Is that right? Hold on. I think I don't know if I'm remembering it correctly. Yeah, they named it something that was a little too like scary for people. Yeah, the World Coin is Iris Biometric Cryptocurrency Project. You want to get really creepy and go down the transhumanism highway? This is the World Coin, and it's an actual thing. WorldCoin.org. World Network, originally WorldCoin, is a for-profit cryptocurrency project that uses Iris Biometrics developed by San Francisco and Munich-based Tools for Humanity. Founded in 2019 by OpenAI chief executive Sam Altman, and he is a good guy. So trust Sam Altman. Isn't that crazy? But I think at one point it was called like One World Coin or something like that. And they were just like, it was too like, what? So they're like, they renamed it World Coin because, it sounds better, right? Don't you feel better about it? It's just called World Coin. Anyways, let's go back to this post by Ryan Sikorsky. He's just drawing attention to this. IoTEX, or Internet of Things, whatever the EX stands for, announces AI expansion as the blockchain platforms building an open ecosystem for physical intelligence. Yikes. Guys. This is iotex.io, where AI touches life. Yikes. You keep that AI away from my life. Sorry. Creative Experiment says WorldCoin was used in Africa. It's not for USA citizens. They practice on other countries first. Sure. But the whole premise of it is crazy. The fact that they just came out and called a coin Transhuman coin, and they're like, it's fine. Like nobody's going to be like, Transhuman coin. I don't want any parts of that. And you shouldn't. So maybe there's something to this transhumanism after all. The transhumanist highway. Meanwhile, Max Blumenthal, excuse me, is protesting in DC about, Holocausts, present day Holocausts. He says the corporate media generated consent for the Holocaust of our time. Fox News and other Murdoch outlets are still propagandizing for Israel's genocide machine. That's why we're protesting them and interrupting their programming at 400 North Capitol Street every day. He blasts corporate media as enemies of the people for its role in manufacturing consent for the Gaza genocide and demonizing independent and Palestinian journalists. This is a long clip, but we'll just listen to a little.
I'm speaking here on behalf of those of us in the West in independent media who are prematurely correct. We were wrongly correct. We were right before it was allowed. We were right that CNN was lying when they put up on a chyron that 40 babies had been beheaded by Hamas. We were right when right-wing Zionist journalists started claiming that Hamas had baked babies in ovens on October 7th, citing fraudulent rescue organizations like Zaka and United Hatzalah. We were right when we called out the New York Times for its phony front-page investigation claiming that Palestinian resistance groups on October 7th committed mass rape against Jewish women. They never produced any survivors. They never produced any forensic evidence. They never produced any credible police investigations. They never produced anything to the point where they had to change the entire definition. And the New York Times never even corrected its piece when virtually all of its eyewitnesses were proven to be frauds. What they do correct, though, and issue a clarification on, is that an emaciated child, Mohammed Zakaria al-Mutawak, who is living in a tent with his mother, whose father was killed on the beach in Gaza City, who suffers from a muscular condition, who cannot get enough milk, which worsens his muscle condition. They issued a correction noting that that child had a pre-existing condition, caving to Zionists who accused the New York Times of an anti-Semitic blood libel for showing that child on the front page. Because what? What? We're supposed to accept the death of the Untermenschen? That's what they're claiming, and the New York Times caves to them, but made no correction on any of these phony investigations which we exposed. We also exposed Israel's killing of hundreds of its own citizens on October 7th through the Hannibal Directive. And for these exposés, for being prematurely correct, we at the Gray Zone were attacked not once, but twice in feature-length articles by the billionaire-owned Washington Post.
Yeah, we know they'd be lying. They're lying about everything. Well, yeah, last time there was a genocide or a Holocaust. They're like a rapidly expanding country that was just rolling over the borders, going to other countries and going like, we'll take that. That's not happening now. Just executing people. Just lying about what's happening. And Netanyahu was, and others were just lying about the fact that, oh, it's Hamas's fault that we have to go kill all the Palestinians. It's Hamas's fault. They're out here stealing the aid. Just saying things with no, again, these are lies that journalists have debunked several times. And, they will continue to debunk those lies. But here's, some footage of Israeli settlers destroying aid bound for Gaza. And they're trying to tell us that Hamas is stealing the aid and selling it on the open market to make a profit. And they're stealing aid out of their countrymen's mouths. And that's why we have to go in and kill them all. No, dude. They're just stopping the aid from getting in there. Whatever aid they distribute under, rifle fire and in, extremely hostile settings. If the aid even gets there at all, a lot of the aid is, this is being done to the aid, which is these are not Hamas. Yeah, is that looks like a Hamas flag, right? Those look like Hamas. So we have video of what's actually happening. Plenty of pictures and footage of the blockades against all the trucks carrying aid coming in. That's not Hamas is not blocking the trucks. It's not Hamas. I wonder who it is. And the corporate media and other, supposedly independent medias continues to help the regime spread these lies. And yeah. All right. Just a couple more things to cover. Then I'm going to get out of here. Oh, real quick, I want to just talk about this. I'm a broken record. But I was just listening to a historian talking about the fact that there was at one time a revolution in this country. There's been several, but there was a bit of a revolution in the 60s, right? What's known as the 60s revolution, which produced a different, set of living. There was a revolution prior to World War II where people were starving and hungry and not getting paid enough, and living conditions were bad. And that revolution produced FDR and a lot of the social democratic changes that we saw prior to World War II and after World War II, what created like a very, wealthy time in our country's history. And what this historian was saying was, after World War II, we were extremely prosperous and we had unions and we had free college and people didn't have to worry about scrambling to live day to day. They had free time, they had education, and they had enough time and attention and energy to start to look at other problems in society. One of them being racial discrimination. But other things as well, right? And so there was kind of like one of the other things being, unjust wars of aggression, wars that didn't need to be fought, a military industrial complex that was out of control. And he was just saying between 54 and 69, there was, this very wealthy, the country, we were at a point in which the divide between poor and rich was at its lowest. People were able to get paid a fair wage. If they worked a union job, they could go get free college, and it just created was awareness and a bit of a, I would say revolution and a bit of an evolution, because that's what happens when people have access to knowledge, right, that they didn't have before, and the free time to do something with it. And it created a revolution, and then there's been a decided effort to kill that instinct in people or greatly curtail it ever since. And he's correct. But anyways, the origin of student debt, Reagan advisor warned free college would create a dangerous educated proletariat. Well, they wanted to destroy the proletariat that already was educated and that was aware and that wouldn't stand for horrific things being done in the name of patriotism or whatever it is, And he's right. And so ever since then, I mean, Reagan is a big culprit in that, in our downward spiral. But there are a lot of other actors in there as well. Blame freaking Biden was one of the key people in the student debt trap that trap people in student debt. And that has been a whole plan ever since. And now it's gotten, worse than ever. It's, pretty unaffordable to go to college now. If you do go to college, you're strapped to the wheel trying to pay off your debt, which turns you into basically a wage slave. You can't bankrupt out of the student debt. And now they're talking about, I think I just saw something that they were going to start garnishing wages. So we went from this supposed debt relief that Biden was going to give people, that a few people got, but not everyone got. A lot of people did not get the debt relief that Biden promised. We went from that to just 2 years later, people having their wages garnished. So, it's it's an easy target to blame Republicans, and they are to blame. But the Democrats just tee up they set the ball on the tee for Republicans every time. And they're part of the whole thing. So you gotta look at the whole picture. You can't just, every time Republicans come around, cry about Republicans and how terrible they are, when you're not actually taking a look at what the Democrats are doing to set up the ball on the tee for them to hit into the stands. You got to be aware that, of course, the government is going to do their best to usurp power to get whatever they can get and to give people less and less. That's what governments do. But your job is to fight against that. That's your job. That's literally in the Constitution. And you know, sure, yeah, you can whatever, you can talk about how it was made by a bunch of white, you know, slaveholders. Oh, sure, of course. But the idea is in there, and that idea is important. The idea that, you know, governments tend towards tyranny, governments tend toward corruption. And when, you know, the language of the Constitution says literally, when you see that the government has turned tyrannical or towards corruption, you know, you are not just capable, but you are charged with overturning that government or replacing it or doing something about it or fixing it. That's your job. Ain't nobody else going to do that job. That's your job. Just food for thought. Give me a sec, guys. Let's see. What else? And that's a battle. I mean, I would love for us to evolve out of this, you know, for humans to evolve into, like, you know, some better existence, some different way of doing things. But, you know, it ain't happening anytime soon. Yes, we're always evolving. Yes, we're always getting smarter. Yes, we're always trying to get better, but we're not, the fact that we aren't capable of seeing that something needs to be done to, you know, to put ourselves in the way of this, that's not, we're not evolving. We're going backwards because our ancestors totally understood that. And we're capable of doing that, capable of seeing what needs to be done and doing it. We cannot do it. We can just sit around and go like, I hope we evolve out of this. Maybe we can manifest another way of being. Okay. How's that working out for you? Things are worse than ever. How's that manifesting working out for you? I don't know. Meanwhile, speaking of corrupt governments, you know, it's interesting. All this stuff. This is the last thing I'm going to talk about today, but all these investments that Trump is getting from other countries and corporate entities, it's really interesting. Like loan guarantees from other countries. I'm like, why does it almost sounds like we need help? Right? He's running around getting like loan guarantees from other countries, investment guarantees. I'm like, it almost sounds like the undertone of all of it is we're screwed. We really need some help, right? The tariffs, even, we're screwed. We really need some help. And here's why you need to help us. Like, that's the undertone. That's the thing that's not being said underneath all of these. The supposed winning from Trump is like, guys, we need some money. Like, and we need it fast. Because we're about to go over a debt cliff. And if we go over the debt cliff, the whole world goes with us. And good luck to you, sir. Like, I kind of feel like that's literally what he's saying to people. Good luck to you, sir. If we go down, you go down. Right? It's just... I really feel like that's just the nature of all the conversations. Anyways, Apple said they're going to invest so much money into manufacturing in the U.S. They're going to bring back manufacturing. Trump threatened them with something. I don't know what he was threatening, tariffs or I don't know what, some goofiness. And they were like, "Oh, yes, sir." Apple says they will be making 19 billion chips in the United States and will be only buying rare earth magnets produced in the USA. Every new iPhone and Apple Watch worldwide will be made with Kentucky-made cover glass. With Kentucky-made cover glass. Trump is just standing there listening to all these men. Oh, yeah. Anyways, whatever. This is Tim Cook.
To make 19 billion chips for Apple in 24 factories across 12 different states. Second, we're committed to buying American-made advanced rare earth magnets developed by MP Materials, which will become part of Apple's devices shipped around the world. MP is the only fully integrated rare earth producer in the United States, and with this partnership, they'll be significantly expanding their flagship facility in Fort Worth, Texas. We're also thrilled to work together on a cutting-edge rare earth recycling line in Mountain Pass, California. And third, in Kentucky, we've worked with our partners at Corning to build the world's largest and most advanced smartphone glass production line. And I'm pleased to announce that very soon, this is for the first time ever, every single new iPhone and every single new Apple Watch sold anywhere in the world will contain cover glass made in Kentucky. In addition to the American manufacturing program, we're also significantly growing our investments in AI, including expanding data center capacity in North Carolina, in Nevada, in Iowa, in Arizona, and Oregon. So we're going to keep making investments right here in America. We're going to keep hiring in America. And we're going to keep building technologies at the heart of our products right here in America. Because
all right. Sounds great. I don't know. Yeah, I mean, Tim Cook brought the glass part back to USA and we'll just build data centers. Yeah. Ooh, data centers. Ooh, we need data centers. We love a data center. But we want to drink water. No. Data center need drink water. Data center need water. And while he was there, he bought Trump this like plaque, or this, not a plaque, but like a trophy. I don't know. And the base of this trophy is 24 karat gold. Bribing the president with a block of gold live on TV is wild. What?
Yes, please.
This bottom was made here in the U.S., California, and this glass comes off the Corning line.
It's made with the glass, the Corning glass. Okay.
Unit of one. It was designed by a U.S. Marine Corps corporal, a former one, that works at Apple now.
That's good. He's done well.
Designed it for you. And the base comes from Utah. And is 24 karat gold.
What?
And it sits.
Trump, I love you.
Take the liberty of setting it up.
Wow.
Bring it to me. Bring me precious, so I can pet the gold. Bring me precious.
Well, let's see. There we go. Congratulations,
Thank you
Mr.
very much.
President.
It's
Thank you so
fantastic.
much.
The great people.
Trump told the CEO of Intel to resign.
Yes, please.
This bottom was made here in the U.S., California.
Who?
And this
Who's the CEO of
comes
Intel?
off the Corning line.
Larry Ellison.
It's engraved
Somebody
for
is that
President
Larry
Trump.
Ellison?
It's a unique unit of one. It was designed by a U.S. Marine Corps corporal, a former one, that works at Apple now.
That's good. He's
Apple now. Okay. That's ridiculous. I don't know. I mean, maybe all this stuff is going to work out. Maybe. Stock market's flying, guys, even though it went down today, but mostly flying. If you're feeling it, Lip Bhutan, CEO of Intel. He thinks he's Chinese. Okay. What a ridiculous dude. Yeah, it's just he's bringing back the pure unadulterated Christian white supremacism, scissisms. You know what this country was founded on. All right, guys. Thanks for being here. Thanks for listening. I don't know if I have anybody to thank today. Yes, I forget. Don't know. Appreciate you being here. I will be back tomorrow at the usual time of 12 p.m. Pacific. You guys are awesome. Thanks for being here. And we'll see you next time. Beware the bear.